Hi, the Vasad from Ancient Gamers with another quick tutorial on standing up the APOC Wasteland. So last time we stood up our server, we got our game client connected, and we ran around the server world. We didn't do one thing last time, and that was actually set our master server IP. And I wanted to make sure that we do that this time. We actually want to set it to the same thing that we had set inside of our editor. And we want to duplicate that for our prefab server. It works by default if you are working on your local machine and did what we did where we stand up the server for your local network. Because what happens is if you don't have anything in here, it defaults to the local host and it tries to utilize the connection on the local host. So the first time that you built this and sent it out, it would fail to connect, even though it looked like everything was working perfectly fine on your end, because this was not set. So we'll want to make sure that we set that to the same thing we set in the editor for the external IP, and that it will be very important. So now that we've done that, let's go ahead and let's create our characters. Or actually, let's import Synty. So we'll go to the package manager, and you had purchased the Synty out of the APOC store, and now you're ready to go ahead and get this. So let's go ahead and import this. So we'll find it here in this. And you can see here it is, and you can click open in Unity here, and it will automatically open up in the yes. Go away. And so if you do that, it will open it automatically into your package manager, and you can actually click download here, or if it is already downloaded, just go ahead and click import. And I'm going to go ahead and click import, and we're going to get this imported. And you can see that we've got 23 vehicles, we've got 23 characters, and we've got a wasteland demo scene with two contrasting biomes. And so that's what we're going to work with, is we're going to work with that demo scene, and we're going to work with these characters. I have never seen this, so this is all real time. Um, I have followed the development of it, and it was released yesterday, and I went, I'll buy it at some point, and I went, I'll buy it today. And so I picked it up today and decided that I wanted to do this video series with it because it is a rather large asset, and it's kind of perfect and fits almost exactly with the game that I'm making right now. So this will play well with this video series. And so we're just going to go ahead and click import, and you can see that we've got a bunch of stuff though. These some of these packs from Synty are really large. And so if you're not familiar with this pack yet, you can see that it's just lots and lots of goop. That was a major selling point of this pack, and it was lots and lots of goop. I suggest that you go take a look at it in the click on the description below, and you'll be able to find that in the links. It should be done here. It's rather large actually for a Synty asset. I was kind of surprised. You can see that most of the other ones are less than a couple hundred megs, and this one was actually fairly large. It was 536 megs, almost half a gig. Okay, so now it has finished importing. And one of the first things that we're going to do is we're going to actually import some settings, because you'll notice that we're actually missing some installs here. So if you go over to the Discord and you go to Atavism and you scroll down to Entity Tools and you click on the pinned messages, you'll see that there is a latest version of the modular customization system. And jump out to that and get that site. Get that. and then we'll actually import this. So we're going to import a new package. And we're going to get the latest version, which is 909. And you'll see that you have some new files and some updates to some existing files. And what this does is that this will patch your modular character system that is in here for all of the changes that have happened from the last bit to the very beginning. If you get a bunch of error messages regarding shaders, you can ignore those and just click clear. And as long as you have no error messages here, you should be good to go for the next portion. So now that you've done this, you can see that you've got some new settings here. And if we select a character or bring a character in, we can actually create the character exactly the way that we want. So we're gonna let's explore what we've got here. So let's create a new scene, and we're gonna unload our login scene. And we're gonna save that because we did make some changes to that. And let's go ahead and add a plane. And that'll just add something right in the middle, and then we can drag in some of our characters here. And we're just going to drag these into our scene, and we can come in and take a look at what we've got. And we're going to highlight everything except for the very last one, and we're going to turn it off. So we've got a berserker female here. And we've got a berserker male, and we've got a cultist male, and leaders, and mutants, and punks, and tech females, and villagers. Okay. What is a good one to start out with? This tech male? Let's look at that tech male. Yeah, let's use this berserker male and female. I'll bring those two over here. And these two, oh, we want to turn that one off. I'll turn this one on. Ooh, I don't like that. I want a character. That's what I'm looking for. Character. Yeah, I don't want that. I could have left us a character that was different. Okay, so we'll turn off these berserkers and we'll use these techs. And I'll delete these two. We'll create a copy of those two and turn off the originals. The originals will be our NPCs and these will be our characters. Okay. So let's go ahead and remove. We can't remove anything from it, can we? So what is this? I can remove that. I can remove that pouch. He's got an arm. Okay. She's got a pouch. Necklace? Nope. Gas mask. Okay, so that is just about everything. They're back to default. Okay, so these are going to be our characters. And so what we're going to do is we're going to select those two. We're going to click on window, Atavism, prepare character model, and this will bring us up to this. We're going to get the character's selected objects to modify, and then we're going to add in a modular character. And we don't have any modular morphs for this. I guarantee you that Synty probably didn't add any morphs, but if you wanted to, you could select that. And so what this is going to do is we're going to create a modular character from this, and we're just going to click prepare. So now we've got two characters that are slightly wrong. So let's go ahead and correct them. And so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to correct this character controller, and we're going to set the character controller at 0.9 because Synty is 1.8 meters in height. And we're going to put the X and the Z to 0, which will then center that object. So you can see that at 0.25, the character is slightly too big for that size. So I like for Synty to be 0.35. And so that will get us slightly around that. And then when his arms are down, he will be within the capsule collider. And so we do repeat this process for the other character. We're going to zero this out to 0.35 and 0.9, and we're going to even say this is 1.8 meters in height, and this is 1.8 meters in height as well. And you can see that we're right down to the nubs of his head. If we select her, it's right across the top of her head, and it should be at the bottom of her feet. So this is the properly set up character controller and for the two characters. So now we need to create the prefabs for them. So what we had here and what we don't want to do is we don't want to use these prefabs. If we use these prefabs, then anytime that Synty makes a change or any asset that you use for this purpose makes a change, it will overwrite these files. And you can see that we've already got these modifications on the TechMail1, and if we come over here to TechMail1, that item has no modifications. So if I were to then override and select and apply all of this, it would then apply all of those overrides to this character. But then the next time I go to our package manager and I import the Synty assets in here and I say, oh, look, I need these APOC items. I'm going to re-import these items. Then what's going to end up happening is Synty, that item is going to override because it's going to go, there's a change in the Unity project. This asset that he is importing has this that is overriding it, and it will overwrite that item that you have imported into your project. And so you never want to use these items as the default items within your project. You always want to make a prefab from them. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to go ahead and create a prefab from all of these objects. So we're going to create a new folder within Atavism, and we're going to call this HN Gamers because this is my company. You should call this your own. And inside of this, we're going to create a new folder called Resources. We're going to create a new folder called Prefabs. And we're going to take all of these items and we're going to drag them into here. And you can see that we say it's got an option that says, do you want to create new original prefabs or variants from pre-existing prefabs? So if you choose original prefabs, then what's going to happen is going to make a copy of all of these prefabs that are in here and that are currently set and all of the settings and everything in them, and it'll apply those prefabs to them. If you then choose prefab variants, it will make a copy of all of these, but it then parents that with the original object that is here in this polygon APOC. And any object that has this, it will parent that. And if there is a change that you are not making here, and it is applied to the original item, then it will get applied here. So this is beneficial in situations to where Synty has made uh, changes to the collision or changes to UVs or changes to things like that. And it's not something that you are overriding here. And when you import that and you have a prefab variant, then it will import the changes using the prefab variant options. And you can tell that you have a variant by this selection here. And you can see that our selection changed there. So I chose prefab variants because it's what we want to work with. And you'll notice that it said put this prefab variant at the end, and you can see that over here we've got this tech female character, and it's got this. If we go back to our original prefab and we make a change on our tech character, then you'll see that change happen on our character. So let's put on something that wasn't there like this. Um, Here's video player, right? And if we go back over to our prefab now and we look at our TechMail variant, we'll see a video player on that character. And so what that allowed us to do is make changes very quickly and easily on a master item and then extend that to the character. So we're going to go ahead and come back over here to that TechMail and we're going to remove that object so we don't want that video player on there. And we're going to come back into the scene. So you can see that we've got our two characters now, and we are ready to go into the next step. So these two characters need to go into a resources folder. So I placed them into this, but they actually need to go into a resources folder. And so these two, which is this one and this one, right? Nope. This one and this one, need to go over to our resources folder because these are our characters. And let's go ahead and create a new folder, and we're going to call these characters. We're going to move our characters into the characters folder. Resources folders are amazing because you can see that we've got a resources folder here and we've got all of these folders that are underneath there. Resources squash the folders. So however, it squashes them in a top-down manner. So a resource folder in Dragon Sand will appear before the resource folder in HN Gamers, which will appear before this resource folder down here. So actually that one might appear because it's part of the root. That one might appear first and then top down. However, so that's how this works. And so any file that you're going to use with resources.load will then need to be within a resources folder. Atavism uses resources.load to load the character at the character selection screen and in the game itself. So if you log into the game or you go to the character selection screen and you have a pill, then you do not have your character inside a resources folder. So make sure you put it into a resources folder. So now let's go ahead and create a new character. And this is going to be easier for us to just right click on this and we're going to copy to, and we're going to say a human. And let's actually create a couple of things because we're going to create a APOC game out of this. So we're going to have to create some character things. So let's go over to option choices and race. And we're going to, you can see that we've got humans, orcs, and TTTTT. And so we don't want TTTTT. We want we actually want humans. We don't care about that. We want class. Sorry, because we have humans, but we have classes. So what are our classes? Let's think about our classes here. We have a generalist. We have It could be an archer, it could be a shooter. Let's call him a shooter. And we'll call a survivalist. So we have warrior, mage, rogue, add. And we're going to call this shooter. List. Add. Survivalist. My brain is not working at the moment. Okay, so now we have our 3 character classes, and we're going to start to generate our other things. So now we can go over to our character, player templates, and we're going to copy this warrior to a human, and we're going to call this a generalist. And so now that we've got our human generalist, we're going to open this up and we're going to select the model here. Male. We're going to go into too far back. Ancient Gamers, Resources, Characters, and this is the male. So we're going to select the male, and then we're going to select the female. And so now we're going to update those two, and the generalist is ready to go. So we're going to go ahead and turn off our warrior. Let's disable that. We don't want to do the works yet. Yeah, we do want to do the works. Okay. Go away. Works, all go away. Bulk actions. Deactivate. Confirm. Okay, so now we're going to take our rogue and we're going to copy this rogue to a human shooter. Wait for it to load. And we're going to choose the same models. And so now we've got our shooter. We've got our rogue, our warrior. Okay, let's turn off those guys. This one needs to come back on. Okay, so we've got our human generalist, mage, shooter. Let us copy this generalist to a human survivalist. And we can just update that. Good. And now we can close this one. Cancel. Deactivate. Okay, so now what we have are just our generalists, shooters, and survivalists, and those should all be associated with the Synty characters. But let's go ahead and go in here because we have a couple problems. So Synty has no items on it, right? So if we scroll all the way down, we can see that we've got bomber bugs, we've got some boots. We need to that are there, and we've got some pants that are there, and we've got some shirts that are there. So we need to remove these items because we can't equip those. And we're going to get an error message if we don't. Um, and we don't have any of those, so those won't appear properly. So that's fine. We'll leave those there for now, and then we'll repeat the process here. I can scroll to the bottom, delete the boots, pants, shirt. Okay, so now let's go ahead and stop and start our server. Hello, IT, have you started and stopped it? And we will load our login scene. And now we no longer need this scene, so we can remove it. And we should be ready to go. So log in, and we should see Synty characters at our character selection screen now. And so you can see there's our male and there's our female. So we're in T-pose because we haven't done anything else yet. And if we cancel this, you'll see that I still have a character here, even though we no longer have this character as a selectable. The characters that are already present in the system will not be affected by what has been done, so you can leave any characters that are there. You will not be able to create any new characters based on that. And as long as you leave this character within the project, then this character will be able to be loaded. So, but if I delete that, as you can see, we only have one character here, so that's the only thing we can do is just create this one avatar type thing. So we can create our male or female here, so we can't create this one. So I'll delete her, and then I'll go ahead and just create this, and we'll start doing some developer naming at this point. So we've got our girl here, so let's go ahead and let's do some things. We need to add on our character animator, so let's come over here and we're going to select our character controller. So that is this animator controller here. And you can see that it is the Assets Dragon's Atavism Objects Animator Controller, and that is the one that you want to select, and then you'll place that there. And the character in the scene won't have that, so what you'll have to do is you will have to click Create Character and then click Cancel, and then you'll see her running. So the reason why this is happening is because root motion is applied here. So you can see that we've got root motion applied on our characters here. So what we need to do is go back to our character selection, and we need to go into these two, make sure we've got that, and uncheck the apply root motion. And then when we create character and cancel, we'll be able to go back to that character, and we'll see that they're standing in the location that they should be standing. And you'll notice that we didn't do anything where we exited the game. There's certain things that you don't have to do. If you're working with a prefab and you're applying changes to a prefab in the project, you don't have to exit the project from play mode. You can always make the changes on the prefab and then reload the prefab within the Unity scene. This is a benefit of using prefabs and not asset bundles. So at this point in time, if we logged in, we should be able to run around with our girl character in our main world scene. So at this point in time, we have gotten our character set up. We have run around in the scene. We have our animator set up on this, and we have started to create our process to bring in the Synty APOC character system, or the latest release into Atavism for both the character system and the various scenes. So this is it for this episode of the APOC from Synty. And so in the next episode, we'll go over bringing in a object, bringing in the scenes, and making a brand new scene from the scenes that we've got. And let me go actually over here, and we'll talk to this, and we'll accept that, and we'll continue, and then get a breastplate. And we've got our items, and now we can equip our item. And what you won't see, and maybe we should do that in this episode. Let's actually do that. So let's actually set up the rest of the character in this episode. So you can see that what we don't have is the character's hand. We don't have that object in the character, and that's actually a good thing for us to continue and set up. So over here in the character, you can see that what we've got is a series of objects and slots that are set up. And what we want to make sure that we've got is on our atavism appearance and our female. Let's go ahead and add a slot for the main hand. And we're going to open this up, and we're going to select her right hand. And that's going to go into the slot field. And for now, we're just going to go ahead and put the right hand as the rest slot as well. And we're going to then do the same thing for the rest, the offhand. So that is our left hand. We'll do the same thing there. And so now we've got that. So now when we come down here and we go to our hand slot, we can see this is not what I'm thinking of actually. So hand slot should be set to main hand, and then yeah, okay. So now we've done that. Let's see. Let's find out where it is. It's at her there because we need to reload the character. Okay, so we should probably also add in head slot. Right here. And also a torso slot. Torso on a character like this is, or chest is a special slot, and it is used to swap the character. And we'll go over that at some point. We don't need any of these other slots at this point. Head, chest. Okay, is that it? Yeah, that's it. That's all we need. So now if we go back out, we should see her configured properly. Yeah, so now she's got her main hand, offhand, head, chest all properly set. And you can see that her item is in her hand, but is incorrectly set. So one of the things that we can do I said our left. Is we can go to the scene. So technically what we should be doing is installing one more package. And we'll go ahead and do that. So this will put the staff in her hand. Yeah. Okay, so let's put in one more package. And if we go back here, and then we go into nope, not that one, this one. And we get the latest version of the offset system. The offset system will expose items in the equipment display. So you can see here as we add a gear part on our weapons. Weapon. Tools, pickaxe. You can see that we've now got a slot, position, scale, rotation, rest, position, scale, location that is exposed. So here's our staff. And this is our rotation for those characters. You can see here that we've got a offhand rotation. It should be equal to this value here. And it is not. Let me check something here. Look at the Dropbox, Unity releases, Aging Gamers, Atavism, modular, offsets. Yep, that's in there. Toolbox. That's what we need to do. We forgot one thing. Preferences player. Scripting defined, weapon offset, and we're going to add a weapon IK offset. Actually, no, we don't have the IKs in here yet. Okay, let's add that. So we also have an IK system. And we'll import that. And we'll import the toolbox as well, because we'll need all of those. Okay, so we got an error when we did that, and it's because the Unity addressable assets is not installed. So we need to go install that on the package manager. You can see here, you just need to install this. This is because what we do inside of the toolbox is we provide a function that will build out your addressables, and so it's complaining that it is not inside of the project. Okay, so now that we've done that, what we've got is a series of tools inside of the offset system where we can actually create a new scene, unload that scene, create a new game object, and drag this onto that object. And then we click on reset everything. And now we have our characters in our scene. So if we come over here, we should see our character, and we are capable of clicking on this and clicking on start an animation. Then, so once everything's reset, you can actually go through and click on next character, and you can see that we are going to go through each one of the characters here, and it generates the character and the scene, and these are characters out of the database. And so you can see on the male, since we didn't set up the hand yet, there is no hand appearing. But on the female character, we've got the wand appearing in the hand. So I don't like the way that is orientated. So I'm probably going to change and create a mount point in the hand to make things a little bit easier so we can see exactly where that should be. I always love it when in the middle of a video I find a bug and I have to pause and do a little bit of code, and then I can resume the video. So I had to make one little modification and the code executed, and we should see our character is moving in the scene as we expect. And this allows us to go ahead and go through our characters like we were talking about before, and you can see that anytime that we select a male character, we get an error message down below that our atavism slots are not set up properly. So when we toggle to our female character, she is set up fine, but our male character does not have any of our sets things set up. So we'll want to go ahead and repeat the same process that we did for the female with the male character. And we can take a look at the female character and just verify what we did here, and it was the hand, head, and root. And then we set up the head, chest, and upper arm slot and hand slot, basically. The rest don't really matter. And so let's go ahead and do that. We're going to say main, off, head, and torso, chest. Okay. And we were talking about switching over to using a empty game object inside for this purpose. So our chest is, again, the root. And then our head. And then one thing that you can do is down here at the parent slot, change that to head, and root slot. Change that to head. Okay, so now the mail is set up. So if we go back to here and we go to next and previous, again, we should not get that error message anymore. He was not set up properly, and that should have gone away. So now you can see that we've got a wand that is on top of his head versus when we go to the female, it is in her hand. And so on here, if you go into this one, let's make sure that he has got it set up into the right location. So it is set to the main hand. The main hand is set wrong on him. Down here. So the main hand is set to that. We need to set it to the head. The torso should be to the chest. The upper arms, the hand slot is the main hand. And now let's go ahead and go back. Oh, why is it there? It's still in the main hand. One prefab. Oh, that's the head. And hand. Main hand. Okay, there we go. Okay. Don't you like this? Main hand. This is the head. This is the offhand. This is the main hand. Toggle this, toggle that. Head, head. Okay, it saved it that time. Okay, so there we go. And now it's in his hand the same way. So let's go ahead and create real quick inside of this hand. We're going to create an empty object. We're going to call this weapon holder. We're going to do the same thing here in his hand. You notice they're at 0, 0, 0. So let's go ahead and move that to where we want it to be. So 0, 0, 0 is right there in his hand. And then in this weapon holder in this hand is the same thing. Let's move it over here and down. So it's in the exact location in this palm that we want it to be. Make sure that it is right there. Okay, so now we'll repeat the process with her. And hand. And hand. And knuckles. And at the knuckles. Okay, so there we go. Now we can come here and we can change this to be that, and this one, that one. And the same thing here. Main hand, and it's left hand. Okay. Now we're holding it in our hand better, right in the center of the knuckles, as you can see, instead of up here. We had it previously. So now, let's go into combat. Oh, look at that. And now we're going to click our wand we're going to rotate that wand. Oh yeah, hold on. So we're gonna, this is, I need to fix that. Combat, pause, wand, rotate. So this is an issue, and we're not going to talk about it in this episode. We're just going to do this, but this is an issue that you see when you have things that are not parented properly. You got just a game object that is incorrectly rotated in the scene, and it rotated way out here, so the rotation matrix is incorrect on that. We're not going to correct that, like I said, but we're just going to make it work. So at this point in time, what I've got is I have rotated it to the position that I want it to be. Maybe I want it to a little bit up. There we go, because this is a wand. So I'm going to click Save Atavism Data. And now when I click Next and Next, it should reappear back in his hand. And you can go back to the girl, and you can see it's rotated incorrectly on her hand. And then you go to the previous character and it's rotated correctly on his hand. So if we go into combat mode and we start the animation again, we'll see that we have hit properly rotated into his hand. So this was a process to eliminate the rotation matrix that was inside of the hand and apply the rotation matrix properly to a weapon holder inside of the hand, and that's where we're putting the weapon, is inside of the weapon holder inside of the hand. And you can see that when we click on this, there's the weapon holder here. And the it looks like maybe the weapon holder's in the wrong location, because that should be at 0. 0? Maybe not. No, that's weird. I'll have to look at that some more. But yeah, so it's rotated properly at this point. And if we came over here and we changed it to the offhand, it would go into the wrong rotation in the offhand. But we could fix that by doing the same exact thing and rotating it properly in the offhand. We rotate that and we come back out here and go pause animation after putting it into combat mode. And then we pause animation. And so you can see that if we did the same thing here and we rotated the object here, we could move this object into the corresponding location that we want it to be in. And then go back here and say save Atavism data. Now it's in the offhand location, and we can start the animation, and it does not correct. So this way you can come in here and go just tinker it with it just a little bit. You got to be careful when you're working with this and animations are moving, because it gets really wobbly. Okay, so now we've got our wand there. So if we put it back into our main hand, it is in the wrong location because we changed the toggles for that hand. So you would want to set it up for whatever hand you have and the rest location. And you can see that we've got the rest location here. And that would allow us to then switch to the next character next, and then it would spawn the item into the rest location as well as the original location. So you'll see both items. And then you can do the same thing with the rest item, and that you did for the main is rotated into the hand, save the location's data, and then when you look at the actual data, that we see on here, we have a whole bunch more exposed than we did previously. And these are all the left-hand IK positions, the look-at positions, and whether you want to enable the right-hand IKs and slot positions and what slot this is associated with. This is an override slot here. And so, like, this is where the power comes in for the offset system. So it adds to the character and adds to the functionality. I always add that to my characters. Um, and so this was a full overview of setting up a Atavism character, editing the slots, and configuring the weapon locations and how you set it up, and how the weapons get toggled between which hand and what, whether they're, and we could put it back into the offset, the offhand, it should be rotated properly in the location that it is. So we've seen how we can create a character and get everything set up, our slots set up, our main processes set up for each one of the character items. And if we wanted to, we could then set our character portrait icon here. And we don't really need to set any of these other things this time because at this point we've done what we need to do. So we can test this character and go in and we can see that as we go back into Atavism here and we exit out of here and go into our login scene. And we're going to remove this scene. And we're going to go ahead and restart the server just because we made changes. If your atavism does not stop and start, look in the channels. I made a post on how to correct this issue. And it should be in future releases of atavism, or at least documented as how to correct this issue. And you can see here that we do not have this matrix set up properly for this, so we should have done the staff. As part of that instead of the wand. So let's go ahead and do that real quick, actually. We'll do the staff because that's what we can see. Stop. Quick crash recovery. Let's go ahead and reset everything. And then we can go back out to our character. And we can see that. Now let's go ahead and click through the next game item. And so we get to our staff. Pants, shirt. Boots. Bow. Staff. There it is. Staff. Okay, so you can see how it's not rotated properly. So let's go ahead and correct that real quick, and then we can log in the game, see that properly. And staff is, let's pause the animation after going to combat mode. so let's rotate just a little bit that way. So right, and it needs to go in just a little bit. There we go, like that. And now we can go. So there we go. Is that right? Hand is angled. No. That's more like it. Okay. So now we're going to save that. And we can go to next character, previous character. It's in the location that we want. Start animation. Say it there. We click play after we remove this and this. And we should be good to go. So what that eliminated was you logging into the game, clicking play, having it sit there, click pause, rotated it, copy, pasta, all of that, repeat, rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat. This puts you into adjusting everything into the editor before you ever click the play button. So, oh, and because we didn't do it for all the people. So let's go out real quick and we'll go to the resources, content, equipment display, weapons, staff, staff 0. And you can see here it says any male, and we did it for the male, right? Let's set it to any, and then we can remove this offhand slot, and we can remove this gender, and we can move that slot, and we can move that race, and we can move that slot, and that gender, and that slot. And so what we have is removed the item that we were working with. So let us put it back to any male, and let's see what happens if we put it back in the scene. It's not quite right, and it's in the wrong hand. It's in the off hand. It needs to go to the main hand. Yeah, deleted it. So it needs to go to the main hand, and then let's move this character out. Because we deleted it, it's now going to default location. So there we go. Just slightly off. Okay, so now it's past the thumb. It's in the hand. There we go. Now let's save it. And then we'll leave those there. And now we'll click play. And now her hand is incorrect. But let's see, create a character. His hand. Was that because, yeah, we didn't set it to any, here, any, log out. And now it's back at her right hand properly. And that needs to be adjusted for her. So now we would have to have one just for her. Yeah, so we'll have to adjust one for her. And let's go to that previous character and previous equipment. There we go. Now let's select her and move it up. This is why you pause it. Now it's in the right location. Save that item, and now we can go here. We should see her. It should be any female. Main hand staff, any male. And now play should be in the right hand for the right location for her hand. No. Hmm. Now it's off even more. Because that's a male, that's a female, and that's a race. That's a race. Yeah, this is, you have to be careful with toggling. Okay. I'll debug this in another video and then we'll come back to this. What we've seen today is setting up our slots. We've set up our character. We've created the locations for the weapons to go into. We have um, verified that we can see them in game and the positions changing in game, even if they're incorrect properly at this point. We verified that we can see all of those. And in the next videos, we'll go through the next process of how to actually set these up, get them in game, and start turning things on and off. And we'll get our characters seen into place so that we can actually run around inside of the Synty APOC world. So until next time, thank you very much and happy coding.